I've decided to set myself on a mission to rank every criminal mentioned on the blacklist, because I just feel like somebody has to do it. All 176 of them revealed in the main show. An absolute clusterfuck of criminal minds. So I'm gonna rank them based on how I feel about them. But things like how intimidating they are, the writing they have going on for them, how useful they can be, and how much trouble they cause can be important. Most blacklist criminals only appear within the episode named after them, but some appear even long after that. I will give those a temporary rank, and once they die or make their last appearance, I will give those their final tier. This is Season 1. Let's do this. Episode 1. Ranko Zamani. Our very first blacklist criminal. Zamani had this plan of getting revenge on a general because in the past, that general bombed Zamani's village. He kidnaps the general's daughter and puts a bomb on her, but one of Reddington's men manages to disable the bomb. Also, Reddington hired Zamani to attack Elizabeth's husband, Tom Keane, for reasons only fully revealed in future seasons. At the end, Agent Wrestler kills Zamani in a standoff. But Zamani suffered from an illness that would have killed him anyway. Now, in my opinion, the best he has going on for him is that he was quite menacing and had some sort of deep motivation. But he's just nothing compared to the other blacklist criminals that would eventually follow. Zamani gets C tier. Episode 2. The Freelancer. The Freelancer is a professional criminal for hire, focused on carrying out assassinations disguised as accidents, always killing dozens of civilians in the process, as he did with a train in the episode. With the help of Reddington though, he gets captured at the end. Now this was not the last time we saw the Freelancer, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's criminals similar to him out there in some shape or form. The Freelancer is kinda an OG of this series. As for Season 1, I think he gets B tier. Episode 3. Wujing. Wujing is a Chinese agent who is specialized in eliminating enemy agents. He operates from a bunker right under some store on US soil. Wujing has a menacing aura and can be extremely violent as well as calculating. When Reddington and Liz meet him, there is a funny moment with Wujing thinking his guy betrayed him even though it was Elizabeth and Reddington, only for the poor beaten dude to realize the truth in the last second, leading into Reddington shooting him on the spot. Which of course causes even more arguments between Red and Wujing that had been going on for like a third of the episode. I think you gotta give Wujing credit for not being afraid of Reddington. But at the end, Wujing and his goons get captured. Now, similar to the Freelancer, Wujing should make a reappearance in the future. As for Season 1, I think he gets B tier. Episode 4. Stanley R. Cornish, aka the Stewmaker. The Stewmaker is this out there creep whom people hire to make corpses or living humans chemically disappear, leaving nothing behind, as he did in the episode with an important witness. According to Red, the Stewmaker has ties to very powerful people the task force doesn't even know about. During the episode, he goes after Elizabeth and tortures her, hired by a criminal she investigated against in the past. But at the end, Reddington shows up and deals with him for good. Now, I really like the Stewmaker. He is smart, intimidating, and similar to the Freelancer, I wouldn't be surprised if people like this really exist out there. The intro of this episode alone absolutely solidifies how crazy he is. I had to put the name of the intro song on screen, it's a banger. Anyway, the Stewmaker gets our very first A tier. This dude is a classic. Episode 5. The Courier. Played by Robert Knapper, who played T-Bag in Prison Break. Like T-Bag, this dude is a straight, sadistic psychopath. He kidnaps this NSA agent who has like 20 million's worth of informations on him. Delivering such informations is why he is called the Courier. He also has a rare genetic defect allowing him to feel no pain. He managed to break out of custody because he had a whole escape kit hidden into his flesh, though he gets dealt with at the end. I think I put him in B tier for being menacing. A classic psychopath, and it works. Episode 6. Gina Zanetakos. Gina is a criminal that appears throughout the early seasons of Blacklist. In this one, she gets hired to blow up a radioactive car so that a company would profit from the whole destruction that would follow. Plus, she has ties to Tom Keane. She is his ex, in fact. She gets arrested, but later in the season manages to escape off-screen. For now, she gets C tier. Episode 7. Frederick Barnes. Barnes is a former chemistry scientist. He kills people with biological weapons, infecting them with a special disease. The reason behind it is that his son has that disease, and he wants to find someone who may be immune to it so he can save his son. At the end of the episode, after he gets killed by Elizabeth, Reddington comments on his motivations.
Say what you will about Frederick, but someone who's willing to burn the world down to protect the one person they care about, that's a man I understand.
Now, Barnes is the show's first morally grey one, and I love how Reddington relates to his motivations and even mourns his death. A tier for Barnes. Episode 8. General Ludd. General Ludd is the name of a criminal movement, as they crushed a plane at the beginning of the episode. Their leader changed his face with plastic surgery so he can carry out 9/11 style attacks in disguise. For his reasons, basically the stock market destroyed the airline his father, a pilot, was working for. Seeking revenge, he wants to crush the economy by blowing up planes and carry out all sorts of attacks. At the end, he gets robbed by Reddington and captured by the FBI seconds after. His motivations were alright, but everything else about him and his organization were kinda way too 9/11-ish, if you will. I'd put the whole organization in D tier. I'm just not a fan of this economical type of criminal, I guess. As for a side note, Reddington killed Elizabeth's father, who wanted to tell her a secret before he would die of illness. It's worth noting that the man was not her real father, but he raised her. Episode 9 and 10. Anslo Garrick. Our very first two-part special. This is where the series usually gets the most serious. Garrick is a mercenary that frees highly protected prisoners for hire. In these episodes, he gets hired to kidnap Reddington from the black site, aka the post office, where a large part of the series takes place in, causing one of the series' first big showdowns. Also, Garrick has a history with Reddington, as Reddington once shot him in the head, but Garrick survived. Garrick quickly overpowers the black site and even kills one of Reddington's associates/girlfriend, and he nearly kills Dembe too. After finally capturing Reddington, Garrick brings him to the one who hired him, a mysterious evil politician-looking dude who speaks in plurals, saying that they only kidnapped him from the black site to show him that they can get him anywhere, and asking Reddington if he told the FBI about them, which Reddington denies. After the man leaves Garrick and Red alone, Red finally gets rid of Garrick for good, killing Garrick with a sharp piece of metal. Garrick is our very first S tier. He is useful as fuck, a powerhouse of a criminal, caused a shitload of trouble, and is tied to very powerful people that should become much more important in the future. And despite showing up so early, is the only blacklist criminal that has ever raided and captured the post office. S tier. Well deserved S tier for Garrick. What's also worth noting, Kaplan, another associate of Reddington, appears for the first time. Kaplan is specialized in getting rid of corpses. Thus, she is very important for Reddington. Episode 11. The Good Samaritan. The Good Samaritan is an interesting one. He has everything of a serial killer except for the fact that he never really kills his victims. Instead, he leaves them to the emergency services to pick up after he nearly killed them. He only does this to people who physically abused others, with the plan to serve them the same injuries back they inflicted on their victims. It's something he himself experienced in the past, but Elizabeth shoots him at the end. Another one in the moral grey zone, but not as good as Barnes. I say B tier. As for Reddington, he is on this revenge mission killing everyone involved in the events of the previous episodes, performing one crazy kill after another. And we get to see that man who hired Garrick in the previous episode having a meeting with Cooper's boss. Episode 12. The Alchemist. The Alchemist is someone you can hire if you want to fake your own death. He takes people and turns them into your body double with matching DNA and everything. Kills them to make it look like it was really you who died, as he did at the beginning, hired by a mafia couple. As a criminal element, you can't deny how useful his services are. The Alchemist gets A tier because of how useful someone like that could be. Episode 13. The Cyprus Agency. The Cyprus Agency is a criminal organization built like a company. They provide a large data bank of babies for their customers to adopt, with those babies being straight up stolen from missing persons they kidnapped, with a disturbing twist involving the company leader, since he got all of the victims pregnant in the first place. A very evil twist, we have to give him that. But as a criminal company C tier, in my opinion, they acted kinda dumb in the episode. Besides all that, Reddington finally tracked down the mule who gave Garrick the blueprint of the post office to kidnap him. It was Cooper's boss who Red ends up shooting. Episode 14. Madeline Pratt. Madeline Pratt is a professional thief disguised as an activist. The whole episode kinda feels like a heist movie. I'll put Madeline Pratt in C tier. The whole heist thing feels kinda redundant in my opinion. To be fair to her, she appears again in the future, but only for a few seconds. Episode 15. The Judge. If you get convicted of a crime you never committed, whether because of corruption or incompetence of the system, you can contact the quote-unquote judge. This person reviews your case, and if you're really innocent, the judge will kidnap the one responsible for your situation and hold them for the exact amount of years that you got. And if you got the death penalty, the judge will kill the person responsible, whether it's a lawyer, a cop, or a real judge. As for her motivations, the judge's father got wrongfully sentenced to 30 years. A very interesting concept overall. I know I have put a lot of these in B tier, but I am very selective when it comes to the A and especially the S tier. So the judge gets high B tier for a unique concept. As you can tell by now, there is a lot of other stuff going on I just have to get into here and there. In this episode, we see Tom Connolly for the first time, an attorney that should play a much bigger role in the near future. Also, Tom Keane, Elizabeth's husband, nearly had an affair with another woman. But as she is revealed to be some sort of spy, it is revealed that Tom is one too. Episode 16. Mako Tanida. Tanida is a vengeful Yakuza boss who broke out of prison to take revenge on anyone involved in his capture. We see him forcing this FBI agent to take his own life with a katana. In the episode, Tanida goes after Agent Wrestler, who in the past was involved in Tanida's capture. Tanida didn't manage to kill Wrestler, but managed to kill Wrestler's girlfriend instead. During the episode, Wrestler and one of his friends, a former FBI agent who also was involved in Tanida's capture, ally themselves and manage to arrest Tanida. But as they are driving, a twist gets revealed. The real reason Tanida went after them was not because they captured him back then, but because Wrestler's friend, the former FBI agent, killed Tanida's brother and overtook his drug empire while Tanida was in prison. That's why Tanida went after the agents, to find out which one of them killed his brother. The situation in the car now gets pretty intense as Wrestler's friend snaps and shoots Tanida, leading into a car crash. Wrestler's friend now tries to flee, but Wrestler confronts him and the dude ends up stabbing himself to avoid prison time. As for Tanida, he managed to escape in the meantime, but Reddington locates and kills him off-screen, sending Tanida's head to Wrestler as a gift. Now, Tanida is what I call a twist criminal. As the show progresses, we are gonna see a lot more of this kind. Some of these belong to the best of the show. A lot of the criminals we discussed so far have a twist, but in my opinion, Tanida is the first big one. All things considered, Tanida gets A tier. What's also important, Tom and his spy friend mention their boss, Berlin, for the first time. And they kidnap this dude Reddington tasked to spy on them, with Tom ending up killing both of them at the end. Episode 17. Ivan. Someone hacks the car of a NSA agent, causing him to crash and die. All that to steal a cyber weapon called the Skeleton Key. According to Red, it was a hacker called Ivan. But turns out it wasn't him. Instead, it was a teenage hacker who stole Ivan's cyber identity. Meaning the episode refers with the name Ivan to the teenage hacker who uses the name Ivan to cover his tracks. He is basically a stalker who wanted to use the cyber weapon to create a situation in which he can lure the girl he is stalking. But Elizabeth manages to reason with him and he gets arrested. I see how someone with those skills could become useful, but C tier overall. By now though, Elizabeth is on Tom's tail, finally realizing he is a spy at the end. Episode 18. Milton Bobbit. Milton Bobbit is a criminal that recruits people who suffer from a deadly sickness to carry out suicide assassinations, offering to pay their families in return. He also took part in an experiment leading into him getting infected with a deadly disease himself. Some attacks he organized were to target the people who worked on that experiment. As a last act, he wants to take revenge on the lead developer wearing a bomb vest. But then the task force pulls up and in a twist arrest the lead developer Bobbit was about to kill, since that experiment he organized was illegal to begin with. After that, Milton blows himself up. A very good one overall. Bobbit gets high B tier. Meanwhile, Liz is continuing her investigation on Tom with Reddington, as the name Berlin gets mentioned again. Episode 19. The Pavlovich Brothers. The Pavlovich Brothers are a mercenary-style group carrying out things like kidnapping. Interestingly, Reddington actually hires them to capture Tom Keen, who finally decided to abort the mission earlier in the episode. They bring him to Elizabeth, leading into Elizabeth and Tom's first real confrontation. Eventually the FBI confronts them and they die in a shootout. I know they were just a bunch of goons, but I'll give them credit for getting Tom Keen. They are kinda the good and the bad in the episode. What they do can be useful and they did their job. Although Tom escapes later, but that was Elizabeth's fault. Anyway, the Pavlovich brothers get C tier. Episode 20. The Kingmaker. The Kingmaker is a criminal focused on shifting the power vacuum of entire countries to his or his customers' desires. He is responsible for the rise and fall of politicians on the highest level. He perfectly sets this politician up at the beginning of the episode, putting him on a murder case. This was actually one of Reddington's allies and the Kingmaker was hired by Berlin to do so. Also, like the name suggests, the Kingmaker grooms his own politicians and shapes them. He gets shot by the task force right after he killed a senator. Now, this type of criminal seems very, very realistic and I don't even have to explain how useful he is. You could literally shape history through this guy. The Kingmaker gets the second S tier of season 1 because of how useful he is. The only criticism I have is that his existence kinda conflicts with other entities we have in the series, but whatever, his usefulness makes up for it. What's also very important, Reddington meets that politician dude who hired Garrick a few episodes ago. His name is Alan Fitch. This time they meet in much more peaceful conditions though. Red asks Fitch to convince his organization to help him with Berlin. Also trying to blackmail him with a data of informations he has on Fitch and his organization, which we finally see for the first time. Episode 21 and 22. Berlin. Berlin is the mysterious figure that has targeted Reddington from the shadows throughout this entire season. He doesn't show up early though, as he tasks a rogue scientist with infecting key people with a virus first. All that to blackmail them with the antidote so they would help Berlin with his crazy plan of entering the United States. All that leads into the infamous plane scene. Basically, there is a Russian plane transporting a bunch of criminals. An agent they blackmailed with the virus hijacks the plane, flying it straight to America, leading into the plane getting chased and shot down by a fighter jet and finally crashing on US soil. During all of this, the corrupted agent takes commands from this hooded prisoner. Meanwhile, the FBI, now getting pressure from higher-ups, arrest Reddington, leading into Ellen Fitch visiting him, offering Reddington a way out. His organization is now much more concerned about the Berlin situation. Ressler and Elizabeth visit one of the guards who survived the plane crash, and he reveals what he knows about Berlin. Apparently, Berlin was a Red Army official and KGB agent. But trouble started when rumors circulated that his daughter fell in love with a dissident and she got arrested. But Berlin got his daughter out. But once the Kremlin found out about that, they sent Berlin to a gulag prison where he should rot alongside his enemies. But then things got really bad once someone started to send body parts of his daughter to him, piece by piece, leading into him breaking out and promising revenge. Later, Reddington tracks down Berlin, but Tom shows up with Liz as a hostage, leading into a standoff. Red shoots Berlin and Liz manages to shoot Tom, not killing him though. As for Berlin, the dude was only a decoy. The real one was the dude Ressler and Liz visited at the hospital earlier, thinking he was one of the guards. The season kinda ends with that reveal. Now, I like that Berlin is played by Peter Stormare, who played that Italian mobster in Prison Break. And to be a criminal who revealed his backstory to Ressler and Liz without them even knowing it's him is a flex. But here we have a little issue, because Berlin's storyline is not finished yet. In fact, it goes on for many episodes into Season 2. As for Season 1 though, I'm willing to give him A tier. The plane scene is one of my favorites of the show, and his introduction is very good overall. Now, in conclusion, the Blacklist criminals of Season 1 are pretty solid. You have powerhouses that provide a lot of action, some who reveal a crazy twist, some who are morally grey, and some who are just classics. All things the show will expand on. And with all that being said, I will see you in the Season 2 video.